The catastrophic Wayanad landslides have left a harrowing trail of destruction and death, claiming at least 180 lives. Hundreds are lying severely injured in hospitals, while countless others remain missing, trapped beneath the debris. For now, the survivors are clinging to hope as rescue teams are battling to save the remaining people. The tragedy in Wayanad is the latest in a series of natural calamities in Kerala, such as landslides, floods and flash floods in recent years. As per the latest numbers that we have access to, around 185 people have lost their lives, while 209 are injured. Out of the whole population, 4,500 people are currently in camps. The big question then, well, if such a calamity has now taken place, what can citizens do to help the people of Kerala? Joining us at this point is Mohsin Shahidi, Deputy Inspector General, NDRF. Mohsin Shahidi, welcome to NewsX. Thank you so much for being with us today. What do you make of the situation on ground right now, sir? Mohsin Shahidi, are you able to hear me?
When this incident occurred, our NDRF teams have been there right from the initial hours, and a lot of other forces also there, the military, intelligence, engineering group, the DSC, fire services, local administration, Army, Navy, Air Force, all the elements are there, and we have about 1,200 personnel, including volunteers who are there at the incidents.
Right. What are the immediate challenges then in this rescue operation that your team is facing?
Definitely the challenge, is to recover the dead bodies as early as possible, because of the humid conditions, as time passes, it becomes very difficult to retrieve the bodies. So the focus is on, retrieving as many, missing persons as early.
Right. Can you also explain to us the extent of this disaster? What caused the devastation to this extent?
As you know, this area is a landslide prone area, highly sensitive, and on that ill-fated, night, the intervening night, a lot of heavy rains were there, and that, caused the landslide on both sides of the river. And the spread of the landslide was, covered a huge area of about 3 square kilometers. So that in that, a lot of houses, about 50 houses are said to be completely washed away in the landslide, and another about 200 houses they are also damaged. So the extent of the damage is vast, and that is why there is a focus on retrieval of dead bodies and evacuation of the people from difficult areas.
Right. Do you feel then that the state and centre have stepped up in terms of their response?
Yes, definitely. We have excellent synchronization. A lot of good synergy is visible on ground. The state and the centre, they are in close sync, and there is no issue at all. The focus is on retrieval of the dead bodies, evacuation, providing of relief, and massive movement of logistics by Army, Navy, Air Force is in place.
All right. Also, what are the immediate priorities for this operation next now, sir?
As I said, the immediate priority is to retrieve the dead bodies and to ensure that people who are still there in the danger areas, because it is raining off and on, so they need to be evacuated to safer places. So that is the prime area, and of course to provide relief to the people who have been affected.
Also, how much time do you anticipate will be needed to clear the debris and conclude the operation?
The debris clearance in landslide is a very tedious task. It takes time. So, but of course, the focus would be on retrieval of the dead bodies, and for that, I think the next 2 days would be very crucial.
Right. You've also met the Chief Minister of Kerala. What conclusion have you drawn after your conversation with him?
Yes, the CM had taken a meeting, and all the stakeholders had joined. They updated the Honorable CM on the development, the progress, and the CM reiterated the assistance from the state, and also the assistance from the centre was conveyed, and the synergy that we have picked up right from day one, that is continuing.
Right. What can other states do at this moment to help out Kerala, sir?
Yes, this is a very important question, because in disasters we have to gain that capability to withstand these situations and also provide assistance. So at present Of course, the lot of the forces from the center, they are moving from all over the country, and other states also, based on the requirement, I think they can always, provide assistance wherever required.
All right. My thanks to you, Mohsin Shaidi, for joining us with your perspective on this story and also giving us an update of the NDRF rescue and relief that is currently on. Okay, that of course was an important perspective coming in over there. We also will go across and give some more details to our viewers as well of, what really is the situation on ground, of course, in Kerala, and also what has been complicating, remember, the rescue and relief. And then we'll also open it up to, of course, our panel that also is joining us on the broadcast. But first, let's tell you about the impact of the landslide in Wayanad, Kerala, and of course the extent of the damage as well. Well, this is an aerial view of the situation there in Wayanad. You can see there, of course, a lot of damage and destruction there has been done. A lot of loss of property were caused due to these this landslide, as these pictures are clearly showing you. Of course, transportation has been impacted in the area. As you can see, cars have also been swept away by the gushing water, and residential areas have been very seriously impacted. You can see there the amount of houses that have been destroyed, a lot of loss of property, of course, a lot of loss of life as well in this particular tragedy. Rescue operations, of course, continue, as the GGNDRF was telling us. These are rescue operations that are underway, trying to get as many people alive out as possible. Also, of course, remember, a lot of dead bodies unfortunately being recovered as well. The rescue team here transporting the dead bodies. Remember, of course, it's continuing to rain. As you can see there, a lot of these volunteers and officials are in raincoats because the weather also remains adverse. Bodies being dragged out here by rescue teams, of course, from the site of the destruction. Rescue team clearing out the debris from the area. You can clearly, of course, see here the amount of destruction, and also, of course, the debris being taken out by machines as well, which of course are being deployed there. Also, these are other teams that have been put on ground to take stock of the overall situation. Remember, more and more hands are, of course, being rushed to help as possible. Okay, what is the weather like? Well, the weather, as you can see there through this aerial map, of course, showing you the weather pattern, continues to remain cloudy, thick layer of cloud, as you can clearly see in this picture. It's all over Kerala. As you can see, this thick cloud pattern, and that is leading to more and more rainfall as we speak. Wind speed also is high. It's about 6 kilometers per hour there in Wayanad. If you talk about Kozhikode, it's 9 kilometers. Mangaluru, of course, up there 10 kilometers. So high wind speed as well, high wind velocity currently in Wayanad. And precipitation, light rainfall, of course, currently in Wayanad. Other parts of Kerala, though, are seeing more rainfall. Of course, you can see this blue sign over there, which is clearly showing you about the weather on ground in the state of Kerala as well. Vishal Kumar is also joining us now, CEO of Waste Warrior Society. Also with us is Dr. Nilesh Singh, Senior Meteorologist, CK Vishnudas, Director, Hume Center for Ecology and Wildlife Biology, also with us. CK Vishnudas, the state government, of course, is alleging that warnings were not given in time, but the big question is, were warnings ignored? What was the alerts for this this day for that region of Wayanad? 30th July is, of course, when this tragedy struck. Okay, I think we've lost Mr. Vishnudas there, but Dr. Nilesh Singh, let me quickly bring you in here. Dr. Nilesh Singh, clearly, of course, the adverse weather continues to affect rescue and relief. It's quite a complicated process, isn't it? Because the terrain is not conducive, and then you have this destruction on ground, and then adverse weather to top it off, Dr. Nilesh.
Very true. See, actually, what has happened, the intensity and, intensity of the rainfall is very, high because of, interaction between the Mediterranean trough, low pressure trough, and the monsoonal belt is also having very low, pressure zone. These two are interacting with each other, and this actually results into heavy downpour of rainfall. And in case of Wayanad, what happens? The soil is volatile. There is massive deforestation also due to developmental activities, urbanization, and housing construction. So many things are there, and because of that, there is a massive landslide, because there is no mechanical strength to the soil as well as the rocks. And because of that, there is once there is a heavy downpour of rain, it started sliding down. Huh. And it resulted into colossal loss to human population. Around 100% have died. And there are so many other factors also that leads to excessive rainfall. And if you talk about that Wayanad zone and Kerala zone, normally from 1st May the rain starts, but overall you will find that somewhere around 27% of the reduction in the rainfall is there. If you talk about comparing the distribution and intensity of rainfall in the northwestern belt compared to south,
Yes. Vishal Kumar, let me quickly draw you in here as well. Vishal, on now what citizens can do to help at this juncture, what other state governments can also do to help, what corporates also can do at this juncture. Of course, we've just heard from the Adani Group. They've pledged an amount of 5 crore for those affected by this tragedy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Uday, for having me. I think every single stakeholder has a role to play here. While I think NDRF is doing a fantastic job on ground, but the local communities are typically the first movers when it comes to relief efforts. So all efforts right now needs to be focused towards, making sure that, the damage can be controlled as much as possible right now. And thanks to the media houses like NewsX for covering this extensively and bringing the issues of local communities to light, during these times of crisis. So I think, one important role that the communities need to play is once, the things are settled, and actually even before that, while we're still counting, the number of dead and trying to recover bodies and the injured, but even the people who have been displaced, the kind of access to amenities they're going to get, provided with electricity, water, sanitation facilities, access to healthcare, because there would be pregnant women who would not have access to, being able to reach the hospitals. There'd be old citizens who would need access to healthcare. So I think thinking and caring about the people, who are alive and safe, but providing them safe living standards are something that needs to be a focus for the entire community that can provide relief, and whoever can afford to, I think, needs to be able to contribute. But we need to be mindful that these cases are not in isolation. There have been warnings in the past, but there are warnings at present. So what are we learning collectively as a group, as citizens, as administration, as a collective human civilization? What are we learning from these incidents and preparing for the future? So I think that is the big piece which is missing. So as soon as the relief efforts are over and everything looks like it's come to normal, I think we're going to move on to the next issue, because there's going to be so many landslides and so many climate calamities, because global warming and climate change is a reality, and this was predicted. This was not a surprise. And we are not prepared. Our urban local bodies do not have a climate adaptation plan, climate mitigation plan, or a resilience plan for these vulnerable communities like the coastal communities and the mountain communities. So we work primarily in Uttarakhand and Himachal to set up waste management systems. But if you see here, in these areas, the landslides, the Joshi Mud, for example, has been sinking. And it's gone out of the media's radar. But what's happening with the people there? It's still sinking. And the crisis continues to grow. While on the other hand, illegal construction, rapid over-tourism, felling of trees, over-widening of roads when it is not required is continuing to happen. So I think local communities need to reconnect with the local ecology and to be able to put forward, that local intelligence when it comes to development plan. I think we all need development, we all need tourism. And both these areas that have been impacted in Wayanad are both prime tourist locations. But they have had so many illegal constructions in these areas. And it's typically the marginalized people, the workers who actually get affected by all of this. So I think as a collective, what we need to do is plan for the future. Right now, we need to focus on the relief efforts, but as soon as this is over, we need to ask ourselves tough questions. What have we done to avoid this? Because I can guarantee you that this is going to happen in Uttarakhand. This is already happening in the Northeast. This is going to happen in Himachal. Sikkim is flooded every year. So what are we doing to address these crises in the long term, right? So I think there's a lot of concerted action required, and I would urge media to also raise a question 3 to 6 months from now. Once the issue is over, bringing it back to surface and asking the question, what did we learn and what did we change in our approach? So yeah, those are some things I think, that come to top of mind.
Absolutely, because the fact is that the adverse season is still here, Vishal. There can be such tragedies. We need to immediately put in remedial measures, isn't it? Not just in Kerala, but other states of the country too.
Absolutely. If you remember what happened in Manali last year, or in so many places, that have been facing a so severe crisis during this season, like monsoons, and it's well known and well documented, but we are just waiting, and waiting for just relief efforts. Like, we're not preempting any of these, and this goes beyond states, beyond any boundaries. So I think as citizens, we all have a role to play, because we all go to these areas. Like, I personally was in Wayanad, 10 kilometers from this crisis just a month ago. So I was there personally witnessing the beauty of Wayanad, and it was completely mesmerizing. So when we as citizens go to these places and get so much from those places, right? All the Himalayan tourist areas that we work in, the entire country visits these areas. So we are all stakeholders. So we cannot just be passive observers. We need to dig deep. We need to investigate, what are the different things that are happening? What are the systemic changes that we are making? Are we becoming smarter in our planning of development, and our local voices being heard? And in all of this, Uday, one of the key things we tend to forget, is the other species that get impacted by these crises, right? Global warming is hitting us, but we're only talking about its impact on humans. All the other species that are there, humans are not the center of the world. There's so many other species that, call the earth a home as well. But we completely forget the, biodiversity element when it comes to, planning our infrastructure development. So there is a concept called donut economy. And I think there's a lot of work that we need to do to understand planetary boundaries, right? Each tourist area has a carrying capacity in terms of how many tourists can visit. So we need to design tourist areas like that. And within the donut economy, we need to take care of the air quality. We need to take care of the water quality. Because as of today, and through crises like this, the water gets polluted. The sewage sometimes gets burst and gets mixed with, the river streams. And that becomes a problem then globally, because that water comes back to all of us. So, we need to take care of our simple basic needs: air, water, land, soil quality, and biodiversity. And those things cannot be done in a crisis moment. They cannot be done with the mindset of a relief work, right? Those require more systemic engagement with all stakeholders. The political class has a role to play, the administrative class has a role to play, the businesses have a role to play, the corporates, who are invested in these areas have a role to play, and also the small businesses who are making, the money from the tourists from these areas. They have a role to play. When all of them fail, I think, the role of civil society and the local communities who are the most vulnerable, I think they need to be given a platform. And that's where I think media houses have a big role to play in highlighting real issues. So we cannot blame a single stakeholder for this crisis. All of us are responsible for the problem, and therefore we need to move the needle. And all of us need to focus on solutions. And change is possible. It is not a doomsday. It is not that change is not possible. There are hundreds and thousands of solutions that are developing within India, indigenous solutions by young people who are coming forward, letting go of corporate careers, letting go of just the rat race behind money, and working to solve real social issues on the ground. And there are many such examples, and I think those need to be brought to surface so that more systemic change can happen after the relief efforts are over in Wayanad.
Okay, let me quickly, in fact, get back in Dr. Nilesh Singh as well. Dr. Nilesh Singh, yes, you wanted to come in as well. Please make your point. What are the lessons you would like to, learn? We should learn from all of this to ensure that, such incidents, unfortunately, are better handled in the future.
As one of the speakers said, I mean, environment is a global phenomenon, and we all know, I mean, what is the carrying capacity of any area. So if we are, thronging, more and more, more and more, so that is resulting into acute pressure on the resources of the area, including, excessive use of water, you know, and so many other things that are taking place. So, for example, in 1996, when there was a massive forest fire in Nainital, that was all because all the pine, fruits, they contain, oil, turpentine oil, I think, and that has the ability, to, burn. So people using cigarette there and throwing it, and that resulted into vast area of forest was burned. So in case of Wayanad also, if you will find that such a mesmerizing beauty it is, but people are trying to pollute it. Excessive land use is there. Land use, land cover changes are there, excessive exploitation of water is there, then deforestation is there due to housing construction and so many things, hotel industry and so many things. And if there is even 2% of excessive rainfall with more intensity, this results into landslide and deforestation of the area. Deforestation, as in once landslide is taking place, I mean forest is bound to come down. So we need to preserve, conserve, and protect our environment by, putting up a proper restrictive guidelines by the Department of Forest or PWD, whatever, comes into picture. They will have to issue a strict guidelines, as in this much number of tourists can only be permitted, and then there should be afforestation drive, proper afforestation drive should be there. Then
Yes.
there should be, so many other things also to be taken into consideration about the use of polythene. It should be disallowed. Then, using the stones, granitic stones for construction of the houses, that also results into deforestation and further into landslides. These things are also to be properly taken care of by the department concerned. And these are the things that are very important.
Okay.
Environmental Protection
Okay.
Act should be.
Okay, we've run out of time.
wildlife-
My thanks to our guests for joining us on the broadcast. Appreciate your views, and let's hope that they are acted upon